he was heading one of their outfits as in the capacity of head of HR. And then about 2-3 years ago, he decided to call it a day with the corporate regime of sorts, realm of sorts, and then he wanted to step into his own game, and mashallah, he's doing famously well. He is very, very well renowned, which you will be really, really interested in, Taimoor, because you're always looking for creatives and innovative programs. Hasnain does a very, very fantastic course on AI for office work. So it's a one-day course. Amazing. It just blows your mind what you learn out of it. Then there's Bisma here. Bisma is in Hasnain's team. They're both based out of Karachi for now, but I'm actually trying to pull Hasnain here, and he's trying to pull me back to Karachi. So yeah, Bismillah ji. Thank you so much for joining us, giving us your precious time. I so appreciate it.
Ijlal Saab and I welcome you to the HR podcast on behalf of Ortak Consultants. Today's session is about conducting interviews, so we will be covering the whole topic end to end and taking your expertise and your practices into it. So, what interview techniques do you prefer while conducting an interview?
Thank you, Janab. Bahut shukriya. Before we start talking on this topic of interviews, it is very important that in light of what we are doing at Nayatel, I enlighten the audience that the importance of shortlisting is critical, because only then a certain type of interview can be effective. So what we do at our end is that we shortlist starting from the basic academics. Since 95% of our hiring is of fresh graduates, whether they are engineers or they are BBAs or MBAs. So what we do is we start from metric, FSC, and 4 year of graduation. And the reason for that is that 2 years metric, 2 years intern, and 4 years bachelor's, it makes around 8 years of academic course. So if somebody is performing reasonably well by securing, let's say, 70 to 80% marks in those 8 years, this means that the person's IQ and mental faculties are reasonably strong. That means the person can grasp ideas, can be trained, and therefore the remaining part of our evaluation process and interview is not technical in nature. So we can base the remaining evaluation process, including the interviews, more towards the personality assessment, psychometric tools, and judging a person's potential. So this is the startup that it is very important that shortlisting has to be very, very tough, so that the right person reaches the other side of the table. Now, the general technique that we use for interviews, you have got different types of interviews, let's say situational questions, or interviews having behavioral type of questions. So what we do is we generally go for both types, a mixture where we put a candidate to a situation-based questionnaire, and we also ask behavioral types of questions, so that the true inner self of person comes out, and the daunting task of hunting a talent becomes reasonably manageable.
So it's to basically identify competencies as well, right? When you put them in situational questionnaires and ask them certain questions from different scenarios. So I think, am I correct to assume that you're testing their capacity and competency, and of course the integrity part can be tested side by side, right?
Yes, the integrity part is critical, because I have seen in my career people having strong profile, strong abilities and skill sets, yet they faltered on the part of honesty. So and rather, people with strong abilities are more likely to play hanky panky. I mean, if you see things around us,
Yeah.
people who have caused damage at your personal, national, societal level, they are genius. So merely judging the personality traits and skill set is absolutely not enough. One has to be very, very alive to the fact that a person's uh, honesty and integrity part must also be checked. And there are multiple ways. Of course, during interview would not be enough. One has to go for referral checks, and at least 2 to 3 references must be checked. Psychometric tools can help you in telling this part of the candidate. So yes, this is the combination that one must be looking for.
How do you shortlist your set of proverbial candidates per se? कैसे आप उनको short कैसे कर रहे हैं? Shortlist कैसे कर रहे हैं? Is there a university preferences? I've seen in the market, I don't know how you would gauge it, but I think it's sort of a sad engagement technique that they're very, very candid about कि जी इस university से होना चाहिए, otherwise नहीं चाहिए हमें. Is that so?
I would categorize universities based on 3 general segments. One can say the top-notch universities. For example, IBA, LUMS, NUST, they can be considered as top-notch. Then there are second-tier good universities. For example, CUST, Zabist, AIR, Qaid-e-Azam. And then there are third category universities. We do not have specific preference regarding name. We have a wide array of universities from which we shortlist. It is not the deciding factor. I have seen people from top-notch universities coming for interviews and performing very poorly. So coming to the answer, we have got, let's say, 2 broad categories of candidates. The majority ones are those who are fresh graduates. So the fresh graduates, we start from percentages in metric and FSC and those 8-10 universities. So once a candidate gets shortlisted based on this, then the first point of interaction is what we call as presentation session. This is the first time that we come across face-to-face with a candidate, where a candidate comes, he stands up for let's say a minute or so, and he or she is asked to talk about his or her hobbies, strengths and weaknesses, who has inspired him or her most, with absolutely no technical questions. So now, if a person comes up and for a minute speaks on these questions, that time is more than enough for us to shortlist a person with energy and drive and fire in the belly kind of a thing. Because there is again a possibility, and I've seen many cases where a person is coming up with a lot of outstanding grades, yet he lacks the spark. Joshe, Jazba, Shauke, Shahadat, these are missing because of our type of academic system, where one can get good grades through Ratta system and yet lacks the depth. So that first point of contact, we shortlist those people whom we believe have got strong energy, good confidence in communication, even if the person is slightly lacking on the confidence part. We can still shortlist because there is a possibility that the person has got energy, but probably the first time he or she is standing in front of so many people. So let's not, because let me tell you one more thing. There are things that can be trained. For example, communication can be taught. Confidence can improve. Short skills can improve. But energy is not something that you can improve in days. Energy is something, it's like Rome, which was not built in one day. It takes months and months of working on your body, because a healthy body has a healthy mind. So, and let me just pause and tell those candidates, before reaching the interview, if you want to be impactful in your interview, you have to prepare much earlier. You have to work on 2 main domains of your personality. One is your mind, which is through 2 things, that you read a lot and that you meet a lot. These are the 2 things that will ultimately help enrich your brain. You can have fertile ideas.
Networking skills are really required, right?
Yes. The second thing is your body. For that, you have to go out and work out. This is not something which is taught in academic sessions. This is not something people talking about interviews should be talking. But I have to stress upon this point that the kind of lifestyle that youngsters are living nowadays, they sleep at around 10, 11, 12, 12 afterwards. And before that, they have to get, let's say, pizza from Food Panda. And there is absolutely no physical activity. And this friend of ours has ruined our lives because of
Absolutely.
social media and quick attention and quick entertainment through reels, which has reduced the attention span. So a lot of damage this lifestyle has already done. So undo that, the candidates who are or the potential candidates who are in class 8, 9, 10, first year, second year, even starting their graduations, must start working on their mental faculties and their physical things. So hopefully then by the time a person reaches in front of an interviewer, you are likely to be beaming with energy, because you see, a candidate needs a job. That's not my problem. The candidate should build up his case and personality that he should become my need.
Yeah,
For that, it has to present such a forceful impact that I should leave no stone unturned to hire the person. So coming back to your question, I know it's becoming lengthy, but so many things come. After the presentation session, the shortlisted people go to the next level of psychometric test. It's a 1 hour test where we further delve into the personality, and it's a 1 hour written test with no technical questions again, and an external psychologist then shortlists the people. And generally, out of 10 or so people, around 2, 3, or 4 people get shortlisted. So the rate is very high of rejection. And then the third level is an IQ test, in which we check 3 things. One, analytical abilities, problem solving skills, and whether a person is trainable or not. So after these 3 evaluations, then the shortlisted person.
How do you check if he's trainable or not in that test?
Yes, you see, there are questions. There are
designed to extract that information.
Yes.
Okay.
The questionnaires available can sense and check anything in a person.
So there, I remember we had started while I was consulting for a couple of organizations. We had formalized and we had shortlisted PI and PLI testing, right? And it used to be the buzzword because it's a little expensive. Each test would set you back about on an average of $100 or whatever. That's a lot of money to be spent on hiring a resource at an entry level, right? But then I think we can always customize such testing in-house and draw the same results, right? अब सिर्फ रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग करने की बात है ना, we can actually draw good value out of it. मुझे मेरा एक point ये है, the question that I want to draw to is the sort of personality that I've come to know that you have. How is it, or am I missing that it already exists? But how is it that your organization's liaison with the academia, has it been established that you are actually funneling students in a way that, you know, they would close that whole circle where you are drawing, where you're actually guiding them in the right direction? Because let's be very honest, हमारे जितने भी students आजकल आ रहे हैं, they're directionless. Very few kids have that acumen or have that intellect to actually groom themselves or get themselves well versed. Very recently, I came across this boy who belongs to a business family. He's running a very successful small little setup on the internet, on Shopify store, whatnot, and doing decently. He came up to me and was like, "Sir, can I do an internship with you?" I said, "You earn practically as much as I do on your own, not on your father's business. Why would you want an internship with me?" He goes like that, "I need the grooming, which I cannot get from my family." He was that candid. How many kids did you come across that said that without wanting the proverbial, carrot out of it, कि जी मुझे job मिल जाएगी या मुझे favor मिल जाएगा, that sort of thing?
First of all, Nayatel has established and nurtured a very strong academia relationship for the very same
Yes.
reason,
I
that
thought
we
so. Yeah.
wanted to contribute back so that the quality of the output of universities, which is going to be our input, improves.
Hmm.
And so much so that last year, NUST rewarded and awarded Nayatel with the top most uh, employer with maximum guest speakers sending to their university. We got a reward.
Bravo. Very nice.
And including our CEO Haisa, we have got many people who are regularly going to the universities and explaining to those fresh candidates what are those skills and behavioral traits that they must inculcate in their personality so that they are more impactful while now, even our 8 to 10 of our senior leadership are into the academia advisory boards of many universities.
Lovely.
So we have progressed to that level. Now, how do we do it? The circle is not effectively closed because universities have hundreds of thousands of students and we cannot impact. So what we have to do is that because of overall degradation of the academics, because I think almost every facet of life has become commercialized, including, unfortunately, education. Now, because of that, we have to shortlist a larger pool of candidates, make our hiring and evaluation steps very stringent and tight. Only then we are able to almost get the required number of people whom we think have potential to grow. So at the same time, the feedback and interaction with the universities is going on because we believe that we must play our role by giving back to our society, which is the third statement in our vision. It's like a small stream flowing into an ocean. The impact of that is very limited. So we have to rely very strongly on our evaluation system. But those people who get ultimately hired, strong potential to grow. And it is evident from the fact that the past few years, we have now a strong layer of second tier leadership. And almost every city has got down 30 to 40 years of age. The effectiveness of our recruitment and learning and development system, yet I believe there is a lot of room for improvement.
I love the fact that, the organization that you're affiliated with and Bhatt Saab's vision and your vision and hard work has produced that grassroots level of nurturing, which brought you to the next level of, as you just mentioned, there's a second tier of leadership that is booming right now or blossoming for that matter. And inshallah, they will be very, very soon right there at par with you. Interviewing ke liye, what would you suggest for people who are watching? What sort of requirements are needed? So, for example, let's do it a two-prong approach. An interviewer, because let's be very honest, ज़्यादातर हमारे जो interviews market में होते हैं, they're done by line managers, correct? Now, line managers almost never have any formal training of competency-based interviewing skills, correct? So they've learned interviewing by experience only, by a hit and trial method of sorts. So that says, interview kiya, and as you said, if he is incompetent yet smart, he'll be able to BS his way through the interview, and he talks a good game, and he's flashy, and he can, वो सॉन्ग एंड डांस एक्ट उसने प्रेजेंट कर दिया लाइन मैनेजर को, समझ आ गई, उसने सजेस्ट किया कि जी आप इसको हायर कर लें. जब उसने उसको हायर करवा दिया, HR यूजुअली सेकंड टियर ऑफ इंटरव्यू कर रहा होता है. दिस यूजुअली हैपेंस इन sales के front end पे. Unlike your hiring process, a lot of hiring processes rely on the line managers to forward their likes and dislikes, correct? जब हमने गलत hiring कर ली, 3 महीने के बाद, 4 महीने के बाद, 6 महीने के बाद, they have to let them go and they have to redo the hiring again. So that being said, what would you suggest is the right approach for organizations on how to go about hiring?
Again, it is not that time-based interview which one should be talking about. It has things
more to it.
One should prepare for interview. And what I do is that we regularly guide our lead interviewers as to what are those skills one should be judging, and we make sure that they do not cross or exceed certain percentage of technical questions. They are bound to follow that, because that is why we do not have separate technical and HR interviews. Once the shortlisting is done, which, as I've already explained, consists of 3 rigorous testings, then a person who reaches in front of the panel has 3 to 4 members, with one or so HR guy and 2 or so technical people, and then we have got few observers, 1 or so. A person who is relatively young is groomed by exposing him to the interview environment so that he can start judging. That's how we start grooming them.
Lovely.
So we keep a check on people who indulge too much into technical questions for very obvious reason, because that's their forte. So I would suggest that instead of having separate interviews, interviews should include the technical and HR part at the same time. So, and we also believe that a normal interview should range between 15 to 25 minutes, unless it is a GM level of interview, that's fine. But secondly, a regular evaluation of and guidance to the potential technical people should also be. For example, whenever we finish an interview, I ask each panelist to give their opinion. Now, for example, if somebody tells me that the confidence was low, hence I would like to reject the candidate, then I ask that, do you think confidence can be improved or not? Because I believe confidence can be improved. And if somebody is coming the first time in his life,
and then
confidence can be shaky. Yes. That's how we have post-interview discussions, and at times they agree. So that's how it's a continuous improvement. Last year, somebody from Google came for our management weekly meeting presentation, where I think you also came once. And I'm amazed to know that 60% of the Googlers are interviewers. Now, this is my goal, next level, that 60% of my managers at least must be having the ability to hunt and sift through the person to judge and not merely rely on technical abilities. So this is my take on this particular topic.
Lovely.
I have a question. Sorry. Would you like to go ahead?
No, please. You're jumping in the right
spot. The whole process that you earlier described for hiring. So with psychometric testing and even with the involvement of psychologists at some point. So was that, my understanding, that was for management trainees only. Am I correct?
No, anybody who's having 16 years of education, irrespective of the field he is coming for, has to go through that test.
All right. And what about the hirings of mid-level?
Mid-level, you mean, let's say, assistant managers?
Maybe, yeah, assistant managers.
Okay. Generally, in Nayatel, we have around a strength of 2,400 employees. Out of that, around 1,900 or so are field staff. Let's say the technicians, the diploma holders, the patrolling guards, security guards, drivers, that category. So out of those 400 remaining officer cadre employees, we have around 180 managers, and 90% more than that are homegrown leadership. So generally we do not hire. It's not a policy. It's a practice that has proved itself to be very effective. But in case, if we have to hire somebody at a managerial level, yes, the person has to go through that psychometric test, although the test is tightened accordingly, because the more you grow in age, the more you are more likely to mask. You gain that ability to mask. So that's why we caution the profiler to make the test tighter, so that you go into that mask and bring out the true personality, and most of the time the person is successful. By the way, the profiler himself has recommended that the personality assessment is around 60% close, because humans are the most complex species on earth, and only God knows the true inside out. We can maximum judge around 55, 60, 65% of a person's personality. So that is why the interview has to be there, so that you can judge the remaining part.
So, what is your strategy or your method of teaching them the art of interviewing?
Okay. Well, first of all, the culture at Nayatel is very dynamic and open. So right from the day one, they start going through trainings. We expose them to not only technical trainings, but a lot of soft skill leadership development trainings, right? From the day one they join. They go through different Udemy courses, different leadership development programs, and outside the classrooms, we make them go to different job fairs, different universities. They become part of interviews as observers. So that's how their exposure starts developing. So by the time they are at, let's say, assistant manager level, which is 2, 3, 4 years, they have been exposed enough that people with spark and energy, and those who have been retained are likely to develop that insight. Some of them, of course, not all. And that's how we include them into the folds of our interviewers.
What would you suggest? How should candidates prepare for this process?
It's not a one night kind of a thing.
Of course.
Tomorrow you have an interview, and a night earlier you start preparing. No. The preparation has to start. I mean, if I'm a father of a young boy, the preparation starts from that age. Because seeking job is a very competitive affair. There are hundreds of thousands of graduates entering into the market every year. The jobs are limited. Everybody cannot afford to go out of the country, despite the fact more than 1 million of brains have left the country in the past 2 years. Despite that, not everybody. So if you're bound to stay here, you have to face and brave with the competition. The preparation is, of course, there are few long-term preparations and few short-term. The long-term I've already discussed in terms of reading a lot of books, and I would recommend do not rely completely on podcasts and videos. No, the impact of a hardcover book in your hand, the kind of intellectual romance you can experience with that is unmatchable. So you have to read a lot, you have to read a lot, and you have to build your physical stamina exercise, because that boosts your energy. So that's something which is long term. Anyway, short term, I would recommend that you research reasonably well about the organization, past 2 years of financial and technical performance. Try to find information about the expected interviewers, go to their LinkedIn profiles and prepare well. And then note down and prepare about some journal questions. At times, I ask people about their hobbies or their dream jobs, and they're unable to express. I mean, these are the questions one thinks a lot about, but still they're unable to present their ideas. So therefore, must prepare about those basic things that one thinks would be very easy to answer. And there are a lot of questions that you can go to internet and you can find different questions. So prepare well, so that those 20-30 minutes would decide the fate of your employment. So prepare well. And that's
where do people, okay, you said this wonderful thing, read and meet, right? Read, I think they can figure it out. They have access to libraries, they have access to their phones, they have access to the whole shebang. Where do they meet the right sort of people? I mean, when was the last time we actually had a club somewhere where these kids could walk up to us and ask for advice. We don't have mentor clubs. We do not have, let's be very honest, even some of the universities out there, they don't even have formal guidance counselors.
Okay.
Let alone, a formal.
Okay, got it. Now, the point is, why are you limiting the platforms only to universities and clubs? You see, it is all about opening the mental horizon. I would, if I've gone to a walima and a young guy comes to me that, uncle, I've heard that you are in Nayatel. Can you just tell me few tips? And I'm having my meal. I won't hesitate in telling, because that an environment is such that I would feel bound to be courteous. So my point is that it's not only the corporate leaders one should be pursuing. Start from the friends of your elder brother, friend of your father, a professor in university. And then now, since the placement centers of almost all universities are active, so at least few times a year, different companies visit the universities. And if it's a day-long activity, practically after a few hours of questioning, the panelists feel tired. That is the moment that you go and you see, you have to pick it up brick by brick, step by step. It's not that there is going to be an arranged a meetup with a corporate leader and you'll enter a meeting room and you'll gather a lot of pearls of wisdom. It's a continuous activity. It has to start. Different universities, once they invite me somewhere by the end of the session, I request them, please invite me in the first semester so that I am able to sow the seed, and they have around 4 years to water that seed and turn it into a shadowing tree. So you see, there is no fixed, hard and fast answer. The only thing that one has to be inquisitive with high energy, and but I do agree that majority of the graduates or young people don't have these counseling sessions that can tell them. So I am trying my part. On and off, I go to different universities, and well.
See, I couldn't agree more, but unfortunately, not everybody is as outgoing and as helpful as you. So, two, I think this could be a great platform to tell our students or our aspiring young, budding employees out there and people out there, future of Pakistan for that matter. Please take that liberty. Please take that plunge. Attend any and every free or minimal paid sessions. You never know where you can meet the right sort of mentor. You don't know where you would learn something. Maybe you don't learn anything. And that in itself is a learning, that what do you do when you don't learn anything out of a situation, right? So I think we should also encourage people around us, youngsters around us, take that leap. I mean, I think internship का culture खत्म हो गया. I think अभी पिछले साल MTOs का दोबारा शुरू किया था, but that also kind of died down of sorts.
I came across a student who had done at least around 6 to 7 internships throughout his 4-year program. Just
fantastic. Imagine. I would love to meet this boy or girl or whatever.
At least six internships. So instead of wasting the time, enjoying the holidays, that person went for practical.
It was serious, right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, not everybody's like that, unfortunately. And I don't think even parents are like that anymore. Parents also lack vision. Parents need to understand that they need to drive their kids to become self-sufficient rather than, nurturing them and guarding them, and that overbearing, over-nurturing behavior actually is, I think it's detrimental for a child's intellectual and emotional growth. I think we can safely assume that, that's the sort of message that needs to go out. Are you currently teaching anywhere these subjects of interviewing skills or HR related subjects? I'm sorry, I'm being a little on the side.
Due to paucity of time, I am unable to teach permanently, but on and off, I do go for as a guest speaker for an hour or so.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I would laud that university as well that encourages this culture, and because I feel a lot of universities don't even encourage that culture either. Yeah, they as you rightly said earlier, unfortunately, teaching or academia has also become a very it's become too pragmatic, too transactional, too business, and not the calling itself it used to be. Okay, my question was, I'm so sorry. I'll last question, I promise. Yeah, I know I talk a lot, unfortunately. मुझे ये पूछना था कि what sort of red flags should an interviewer should be looking for in a candidate? Aside from we'd earlier discussed about integrity, what else could be there that should be an absolute deal breaker of sorts?
You want a normal, mentally healthy person. Average, because you see, generally jobs do not require you to do research or innovate as such. Average, my person with good mental faculties can be trained. Now, what you can look for as red flags is probably a person with hidden psychological problems. Now, in order to find such possibilities, I ask different questions. For example, I ask the candidate to define your childhood in one statement. Just to know that irrespective of a person's financial background, was this candidate as a child exposed to a good, healthy environment at home? Because that is likely to nurture the person into a balanced personality.
Agreed.
Then I ask different questions. For example, the number of friends that a person has. And by the way, I used to have a perception. We at Nayatel used to have a wrong perception, and we changed. Being introvert or extrovert itself is not an issue. It is. That is where one needs interviewer needs to be cautious. If somebody is very flashy and gaudy and very wordy, it is not likely to be the only best shortlisting criteria. If you're hiring for operations job or software job or IT job or finance job, these positions can easily accommodate a person with introvert personality, yet effective. So to judge effectiveness is something else. Jobs like sales, marketing, HR, customer services, yes, for those jobs, one ought to have a person with extrovert personality. In addition to the honesty and integrity related checks, you need to see the person is personality-wise balanced or having anger issues or maybe hiding things that can be problematic at later stage. Now, since all these things are trait-based, so therefore you need to prepare in advance with questions. Now, for example, I have a big sheet of questions which I open at the time of interview, and I ask from different. For example, I asked a person that if you are given two type of powers, which one would you choose and why? One, that you can fly, and the other that you can become invisible. That candidate chose the power of invisibility because he wanted to see what other people talk about him. Now, I did not like this answer because why are you interested what other people think of you as long as you are sincerely working and dealing with people and are open to change? If you are that kind of clean and pure, you are not required to overhear what other people want to talk about you. So there are a set of questions which enable and help you to find out if there are red flags. Last week, I had an interview about a candidate who was unable to come the previous day. So we accommodated. And as soon as the person came, he was handsome, good communication skills, reasonable energy. The guy said, I was trying to pacify my girlfriend till 8 a.m. the previous day. Hence, I was unable to come for an interview. And it was very casual. Now, although that statement was more than enough to shut the interview, but I became inquisitive about the case. And I took another 15-20 minutes to further delve into the kind of personality as to why this person is having, and later on few questions proved that this was a unique case. For example, I asked, what are your shortcomings? He said, one of them is that I break my mobiles very often. And as soon as he was saying all this, he took out 2 mobiles. Sir, look at this. iPhone Pro Max 14. Look at this. Sir, look at this. Samsung, flan, flan, flan. And he put those 2 big mobiles in front of me. As I see, the screens are broken. So that's my... Now, of course, this is something not required. Now, he seemed over-pampered, badly materialistic. So you can, with experience, easily take out things which can prove if there is a red flag or not. We want normal people. Normal people.
So if we were to summarize this, I like the way, if I can put a tag on it, I love the way that you adapted the interview into a direction where you could further dwell into the person's personality and identify if this gentleman is a caring person, that's why he took that time, or does he have other issues. So for example, जो आपका question था of invisibility and flying, I would have assumed, अगर उसने वो ridiculous जवाब ना दिया होता उस बंदे ने कि I would like to know what people think about me. Who cares what people think about me? That's their business, not mine, right? But if somebody chose the power of flight, wouldn't they be, in my opinion, narcissistic? Which I am a little myself, but yeah, that being said, क्या वो narcissistic personality में नहीं होता कि this person wants everything to revolve around him? But क्या उसका, of course, वो answer पे depend करता है, right?
I want to fly so that I can see the beauty created by God. आसमान से a bird's eye view. So it's a simple answer. There is nothing narcissistic.
But
it depends on your perception about why do you want that particular skill.
Yes. That is the point I want to bring this conversation to. It really matters. It's not the choice. It's how you reached upon that choice. What drove you to make that choice? That's important, right? And those are the sort of inquisitive questions and the thought process. Because I feel for some odd reason now, people are not methodical anymore. Isn't that so? People do not connect the dots anymore for some odd reason.
I agree.
Quick last question from my end, at least, is Z-Gen or I-Gen as they call them. Your thoughts?
Whatever generation they belong to, unfortunately, by the time they reach us seeking jobs, as a whole, a lot of damage has already been done.
Yes.
And I know
irreparable damage, right?
Yeah, I know a teacher who said that she used red pen slightly more than what she was allowed to on the copy of a student. The principal asked the teacher next day to visit her office because the child's father had come complaining why the red pen is used so much, because he was not in that frame of mind. So the teacher said that you are not allowed to highlight mistakes more than a certain level. If this is the mindset and you are exposing your children in the name of taking very good care and giving them a lot of facilities, giving them big mobiles, and you are installing an LED in their rooms, and they are being picked and dropped by those luxury cars. I mean, I don't mind it. If at all you want to shower your wealth on your child, then probably getting him the membership of a gymnasium That's worth it.
Agreed.
Ensuring that your child eats the top class organic food, which is difficult to arrange nowadays, do that. Expose your child to the best organic and wilderness life so that overall
Culture.
yeah.
Yes.
I am of the
Culture.
opinion that do not expose your child to a lot of luxuries because the child becomes accustomed to free rides. The father is giving everything. So once the person jumps into the practical life, it would be difficult for him to meet the practical demands of the industry, which is ruthless. Life is not bed of roses. So I would request the parents to groom their children in kind of a tough manner so that they're more disciplined, they're more organized, because organization is taught, it's taught by birth.
Agreed. It's a dilemma, right? It's a huge dilemma. Hasnain, your thoughts on the process, on the topic?
I would just like to ask one question, and that is on the behalf of the students actually, and they have asked me this question several times. Well, I have given them my perspective, but I would like to have Taimoor's perspective for our audience. As we mentioned, there are tiers of universities. So the second and the third tier says that we've also done BBA, we've also done MBA. They have the same degree, so what's the difference? So Taimoor, what would you say to those students who have this question? Why tier one students from tier one institutes are picked up and not from second and third?
A student's admission to a tier one university is a composition of how well he performed in metric and FSC, coupled with the parents' ability to sponsor the education. Half of that is in his control, half of that is not in his control. So where things are not in your control, well, you can't do anything about it. Secondly, this means that those going to the second tier university would be slightly at disadvantage, and the third tier would be even more at the disadvantage. Now, this is the practical situation. However, it doesn't define one's opportunities. To me, if a person is really working hard and smart, as I've already discussed in the past 1 hour, believe me, it opens vistas of opportunities. Your hard work on building your mental faculties, your knowledge, your physical ability, your impactful way of communication, the way you write, the way you speak, your ideas, your knowledge, all these things are in your control. So don't blame universities and your inability to get admission in LUMS and NUST, and doesn't matter. By working in Nayatel over the past 20 years, I have come to the conclusion success in Pakistan might be difficult, might be slightly difficult, but it is not impossible. But you have to work hard. Unfortunately, the students expect shortcuts. Don't expect shortcut. Success, God has injected success in time. You see, a baby is born after 9 months of conception. You become graduate after 22 years of life. If you want to reduce weight, it takes months. So God has put genuine success in time. Accept that, acknowledge that, and don't try to run away from that. So it doesn't matter if you are tier 1 or tier 2 university, work hard and work hard every single day for consistently months and years. And initially, even if you turn down the opportunities for entertainment, doesn't matter. Young people don't die without entertainment. This is the time you invest in building yourself. 2, 3, 4 years down the lane, you can have a great life.
Agreed. Work now, play later, right?
Yeah.
To add to this, Hasnain, I know 2, 3 people personally. One of them went on to become the president to 2 various banks, and he was in tier 3 university, which he later improved after becoming a big honcho in the banking industry, right? So blaming a university on your success, I don't think that, yes, there are जिस तरह मैंने शुरू में कहा कि then there are some companies that only and only just plainly say कि जी will only these three universities. Otherwise, thank you very much. Do not even bother replying. Yeah, I agreed. Sad, but they also have their reasons, right? Let's not just start criticizing them. But that being said, just Taimoor so rightly said, it is in your hands. You can actually turn your luck into a wonderful journey, of course. So yeah.
Especially with the availability of so much information and knowledge nowadays to this generation, it's easy for them to make some effort and develop themselves because they have all the resources at the click of their phones or mobile phone or laptops. So it is, yes, every opportunity that I get to speak to them that developing themselves is their own responsibility now.
You see, a person's success in life is usually measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations he or she is willing to have.
Yeah.
So you have to push yourself.
I just have one more question to cover, and that I've been waiting to ask this fine friend of ours. I've actually asked him on a couple of other occasions as well. How does he keep so energetic and so positive all the time, mashallah?
Okay, start your day early by sweating because there's a science behind it. Sweating releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor that repair brain cells from stress. So I wake up at around 4:40 and I leave my home at 5 a.m. and I come back at 6:45. So for around 100 plus minutes, I have to touch 12,500 steps, including jog and once I come back, then I do some strength exercise because now I've crossed 45. So I cannot just remain lean. I have to build muscle so that I remain active. Without exercise, one cannot attain energy and vibrance and activity. Part number 2, it is 40% exercise and 60% what you eat. So I take a lot of fruit up early in the morning around, I don't know, I mean, this big bowl is full of fruit. And then I spend a lot of energy in arranging organic food. Desi eggs, desi chicken, desi kanak, honey, dry fruit, yogurt. I do not take sugar. I do not drink fizzy drinks. I try to avoid normal chicken. I do not take cake or bakery items. The whole day I don't eat anything, just take a handful of dry fruits, drink water, and by night I take little food. But if at all I have to take meat, I go for dumbas or fish. Being energetic, a big part is that this physics, energy, activity, exercise, and food. Second, there's a lot of emotional things because if you are always happy, then there has to be some emotional side to it. There are two types of people whom I cannot live with or who are not allowed to be close into my circle. Number one, those who moan all the time, those who are pessimists. I mean, I agree there is a lot of darkness around. Fine. I also feel that. But I do not let that overpower me. So the one thing is that people with negativity, they cannot remain around me. I repel them. Second, people with low energy. I like people who energize, who are energetic, who energize. So these are the few things I have become part of my DNA. And people around me are positive people, energetic people. And I keep on getting their waves. And
it drops off on you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You feed off each other. I like that. I love that.
That's the key.
We are so thankful for your extremely valuable time. And I so appreciate you taking the time and giving us such great insight. Thank you so very much. I'm so appreciative.
Thank you very much. And sorry for being late and delaying this meetup.
Not at all. Not at all. You're too kind.
I think it was all worth the wait.
Thank you, Hasnain Saab as well and all the team. तो हसनैन साहब जब नेक्स्ट टाइम कराची आए तो उनको जरूर मेरे गरीब खाने पर ले आइएगा ताकि उनकी खातर मुदारत करके हमें भी कुछ सवाब मिल जाए.
Absolutely, sir. वो नहीं he meant Islamabad. कराची से इस्लामाबाद जब आए तब That's what he meant.
बिल्कुल
He usually is he crashes at my place. Unfortunately, I would call it crash because I keep him at very limited resources. But yeah, thank you so very much once again. I can't.
बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you.
खुश रहे, आबाद रहे. Thank you. You have a
Thank
good
you.
one. Allah Hafiz.